What's up, Soul Nation? Ginger Prime here, and I just want to talk a little bit about the Call of Duty exclusivity for PlayStation. I honestly couldn't be happier for PlayStation players. Sony really knows how to value their customer and their base, and obviously Call of Duty is a giant franchise when it comes to shooter games. I'm skipping this one, sitting this one out. I only play a little bit of Call of Duty every now and then, but it's really good to see that they are bringing back a campaign. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Sony has signed a timed exclusive deal within Call of Duty for their new survival game mode that's going to last until October 1st, 2020. Not a year, but very close to 1 year's time. Now, I'm going to do a kind of a deep dive into timed exclusives over on Work to Game later today. I'll be sure to include a link in the description for you guys if you want to check that out, and I hope that you do. But here, it's just kind of a raw, weird, complicated discussion about timed exclusives, especially as it relates to Call of Duty, because Call of Duty is an annual franchise. It's a 1 year, and then it's done. It's got a new Call of Duty game, etc., etc. And maybe they're going to change that up. Maybe that's going to be shifting kind of with deals like this, but a 1 year timed exclusive in this kind of game is just an interesting choice because that essentially locks other people out of it. We're talking about obviously Xbox here, and who has done this kind of stuff before, and PC players, and who knows what other kind of platforms that these games are going to continue to evolve into. So it just seems weird, like in a game like Destiny, in a game that like Fortnite, in a game like these games that are persistent and live beyond just like 1 year shelf life. Minecraft would be a good example. Those seem kind of where like an in-game timed exclusive gives you kind of a competitive edge, serves your base maybe a little bit more. That's kind of where that comes into play. But ultimately, I don't think it's good for gamers as a whole. And hopefully we'll start to see with next generation, the end of that coming to more to a conclusion. That all being said, it's highly possible that we're only going to see more and more timed exclusives as we go forward. Honestly, yeah, I think PlayStation is making the right move. Xbox obviously did this move last generation. I don't think it's a good move. I hate when when Xbox or when other people do it to PlayStation. I've never been a fan of it. But at the same time, for PlayStation players with the base, that's really important. Now, sometimes I hear the argument, and it's going to be interesting to see if you guys agree with that, or if you've heard this too, is that these timed exclusives pay for the content. Like they wouldn't exist. It's not obviously 100% funded by that exclusive deal, but it is funded from a development perspective. I don't necessarily buy that, and I want to explore again more of that here in a video over on Work to Game later. But that's just kind of the raw thoughts. I don't know if you guys are aware, but it is a specific mode for a timed exclusive, and I wish we had some numbers. I wish we could see some numbers on what do these things cost to make happen, because obviously I would expect that they're pretty expensive, because if they weren't pretty expensive, I bet you would see some kind of bidding war. But I bet because of the relationship Activision has with PlayStation, we've seen it with Destiny, we've seen it with other games, they seem to be kind of the go-to house. They've got the base. And maybe that's really where it's at. I think if maybe it's all about the numbers that the platform holder has, namely because with those numbers, it means that the majority of people aren't going to be mad. Because you have, hey, like you got 90 million people on PlayStation 4. It's like, okay, like the chances are somebody who has an Xbox already has a PlayStation as well, and thus isn't necessarily locked out. And again, where this gets tricky is as we get into a world of crossplay, this Call of Duty game has crossplay, and going forward and so forth, okay, like I guess crossplay is great, and then the timed exclusive thing is a little bit wonky. Those are my thoughts. Thanks guys for hanging out with me as I kind of ramble about this. I thought it was interesting, and I'm going to explore it a little bit more later today. Anyway, for Ginger Prime, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.